Namaste viewers. We celebrate this global festival of oneness on account of the Janmadin of Bhagwat Adi Shankaracharya every year. Welcome to this session. Let me start this session by chanting few mantras. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwarah, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vasudeva Sutan Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam, Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane, Pranatah Kleshanashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Mukhaṁ karoti vācālam pangum langhayate girim yatkrupartamaham vande paramananda madhavam. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sahanavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Today we are privileged to have Vidushi Maitri Gowswami to talk to us about warmth of Adwaitabodha within devotion on stotras of Shankaracharya and confluencing insights of Vallabhacharya. Maitri is a Vaishnavite by faith and the learner of Vedanta, Bharatiya culture and Sanskrit scriptures. She has pursued MA from Sampurnananda Vishwavidyalaya, Varanasi, with Vedanta as the main subject. As the 17th descendant of Mahaprabhu, Sri Pushti Bhakti Margi Vallabhacharya, she has been studying all the Sampradayic scriptures of Pushti Bhakti Margiya sect from her father, Sri Sharad Goswami, and her revered Guru Goswami Sri Shyam Manoharji for last 14 years. In addition to some Sampradayic scriptures, she has studied Sanskrit Vyakaran, Nyaya, Sankhya Shastra and philosophies of Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, and Vallabhacharya and Madhvacharya as a part of comprehensive comparative studies. In accordance with her duties towards her Sampradaya, she currently preaches scriptures written by Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya and the Vedic philosophy. She is working with her father at Shri Vallabhacharya Vidyapit established in Gujarat for publishing, preserving and teaching the Vedic scriptures and granthas written by the respected Acharyas of Vallabhacharya Sampradaya. She also teaches Vallabh Vedanta in a diploma course run by Department of Philosophy, University of Mumbai, and is working as a faculty on online courses regarding life and works of Vallabhacharya run by Indica Courses. Over to you, Maitri ji. Please start your lecture.
Yeah. Namaste everyone. Namah Shri Vallabhacharya Charanab Janakhendave Kalikal Mashikatenye Tadvarni Namo Namah. So the topic which I am going to discuss in today's session is how Shri Adi Shankaracharya in his stotras is explaining the mode of bhakti and how Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya would like to align with those thoughts. Though all of us know that regarding the philosophical differences, both the Acharyas have different opinions to make. But in spite of that, being two branches of the same tree of the Vedanta Parampara or the Upanishad Parampara or the Shastra Parampara, there has to be some or the other way where both the thought lines have to match or both the Acharyas have to match. So with regards to that, regarding the philosophical alignment and philosophical opinions, I had discussed some points the previous year during the same Utsava, when Mahaprabhu is saying that Viruddha Sarva Dharmanam Ashrayam Yuktya Gocharam. So Mahaprabhu is saying that in spite of Brahman carrying some or the other type of qualities as per our understanding or within our limited understanding, Brahman has to be considered to be infinite, and because of that we have to accept that he has all sort of qualities within him. Some can be the potential qualities which we are able to witness, and some can also be so sort of qualities which we are not able to witness or conceive. But in spite of that, because Brahman is carrying all those qualities, we need to accept that he is beyond all the yuktis. It means he is beyond our understanding or the capacity of our brain. On the other side, in spite of establishing the philosophical opinion of popularly entitled as Shuddhadvaita Brahmavad, or in our terms, we would like to coin the term Sakara Brahmavad or Tadatmyavad, where Mahaprabhu is saying that we have to consider that Brahman has the quality of being one and also being distinct from the universe and the Jivatma. So Tadatmyavad is explained as Dvaita Sahishnu Advaita. It means that it is some sort of oneness or Advaita, non-dualism, in which dualism can be accepted. So the reason behind the dualism is the Sutra of Brahma Sutra, where Vedavyas is saying Lokavattu Lila Kaivalyam. So this universe has been created as a playful sport of Brahman out of his own desire, as extension of his Anand attribute, or for revealing all the infinite potential and qualities residing within him. So when for the sake of Leela this universe has been created, Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya says that in that case Brahman wants to be an enjoyer, Brahman wants to be a spectator, and hence he creates some sort of Dvaita, some sort of distinctness with the universe, because of which there is a slight Dvaita residing within the Brahman. And for explaining that sort of Dvaita Sahishnu Advaita, he gives the example of a pregnant lady. So he says that the way a child resides within the womb of a mother, being one and also being distinct from the mother's personality or the existence, in the same way, universe resides within the Sat Dharma of Brahma, Jivatmas reside within the Chit Dharma of Brahma, and in spite of being one with the Brahman, they remain slightly distinct from him. And because of that, Tadatmyavad can be understood as Swabhavik Advaita and Aichik Advaita. So in that case, the way Bhagavad Shankaracharya is explaining the nature of Vyavaharik Satta or Vyavaharik Advaita Satta, in which in spite of universe being not distinct from Brahman, universe being a illusion in front of us, because in our day-to-day life we are witnessing the universal objects, and because in our day-to-day life we are performing the vyavahara, it means we are being in the vyavahara of the universe. In that case, we have to accept the vyavaharika satta of the universe. So in that way, Mahaprabhu is trying to argue that we need to accept the existence of the universe, distinctness of the universe, with respect to the Lokavattu Lila Kaivalyam Sutra, considering this universe as a sport of Brahman and Brahman being the spectator. So just as an overview, this is how the role of Dvaita and Advaita have been explained in both the schools. And in spite of establishing this Tadatmyavad, Mahaprabhu is saying that each and every philosopher is working as under Hasti Nyaya. It means that when 10 blind people are trying to touch an elephant and they are just trying to assume that what should be the form of the elephant, and on the basis of one's assumption, they are explaining the form of the object. Same way, Brahman is such a huge reality, Brahatvad Brahmanatvad. So he is such an infinite reality that no one would ever be able to conceive the form of Brahman in an accurate way. And if we claim that we have explained Brahman in the accurate manner, or if we claim that I have explained the Brahman in the most appropriate manner, in that case, the infinity of Brahman is lost. Hence, for protecting that sort of infinity, or for protecting the role of Brahman, for protecting the form of Brahman, Mahaprabhu is saying that in spite of Brahman being explained through one Vad or through one philosophical school, he remains untouched with all those explanations. And in spite of all these explanations not being accurately true about the form of Brahman, we have to accept that they are touching some or the other aspect of Brahman. So in this way, being uh, in spite of sticking upon his own opinion of Tadatmyavad, Mahaprabhu says that each and every philosophical opinion trying to explain the form of Brahman needs to be accepted and needs to be incorporated, considering the infinite desire of Brahman. So the way in the form of this Rupa Srishti, Brahman is conceiving infinite forms. In the same way, in the form of Nama Srishti, in the way each and every word functions, each and every shabda functions, or each and every philosophy, each and every thought functions, each and every buddhivritti, the type of buddhivritti functions. So in all those type of buddhivrittis, Brahman needs to be accepted. So in spite of two philosophical opinions being different from each other or being distinct from each other, Brahman is a common ground for everyone to play. And because of that ground being there for everyone, for being each and every person, hence, whatever we are able to conceive in our small brain about Brahman, about the form of Brahman, about the qualities of Brahman, that each and every thought in the consideration of Nama Srishti being the Karya of Brahman needs to be considered as true. It cannot be false, or it cannot also be nullified on the Brahmic ground. So this is how Tadatmyavad and Kevaladvaitvad, or the form of the thought of Shri Bhagavad Adi Shankaracharya, needs to be aligned with the thoughts of Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya. And this is what I wanted to say with the title Warmth of Adwaita that when Bhagavad Shankaracharya is writing the stutis, today I have selected some stutis, and definitely those are stutis directed towards Bhagavan Shri Krishna, as Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya is a Vaishnavacharya. So on that ground, I am trying to align the thoughts. But even if it is devotion towards any other devata, any other deity, or also Gyan is also considered as devotion towards Bhagavan, as in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan is saying that Gyanavan Mam Upasate. So, in spite of the procedure of Gyan directing one towards the path of some sannyas or path of moksha, the procedure of attaining knowledge regarding the Brahman, or the procedure of attaining knowledge regarding the form and the qualities of Brahman, is also a type of upasana, because it takes you nearer towards Brahman. So upasana is one which makes us near Bhagavan, and that's what the form of bhakti is. So Gyan is also bhakti. Karma can also have a form of upasana contextually. And in the same manner, when Bhagavad Adi Shankaracharya is writing the stuti towards Bhagavan Shri Krishna and praising him as a form comprising of everything. So in that manner, today I'm trying to go through some of those stutis of Shri Shankaracharya, considering Bhagavan Shri Krishna, and trying to align the thoughts of Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya in the devotional perspective. To just take 2 moments regarding the introduction towards the bhakti of approach towards bhakti of Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya, that Mahaprabhu is not negating the path of karma and jnana with respect to the attainment of moksha, but he is saying that the superior most method for the attainment of Bhagavan can only be the path of devotion, the path of bhakti. And that bhakti can be attained by his own grace, as explained in the Upanishad, Yame Vaishya Vrinate Tena Labhyaha. So that Vrinate, it means the chosen being by Bhagavan is the one upon whom his grace falls. And that being as chosen by Bhagavan, or as graced by Bhagavan, is the one who is identified as a Pushti Jeev in the path of Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya in his own terminological explanation. So the term Pushti stands for grace, and that term grace, it explains the method of devotion being ruled exclusively by the grace of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. And on the path of that bhakti, a being attains Bhagavan. Because when in Gita, Bhagavan is saying that Naham Vedai na tapasa na danena na chaijaya, aham evam vidum drashtum drashtavanasi bharata. And then he says, Bhaktya tvananyaya labhyaha. So I am attained alone through the path of bhakti. So there Mahaprabhu says that this is the path of bhakti which leads one towards Bhagavan. And what is the distinctness of bhakti, or what is the superiority of bhakti is that bhakti has been attained through the grace of Bhagavan and not by one's own efforts. Hence, the path of bhakti, as explained by Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya, is known as Pushti Bhakti Marga, because as per his understanding and as per his principles, bhakti is ruled by the grace of Bhagavan. So in that way, the bhakti which is attained through the grace of Bhagavan, and that grace is not bound towards any path or towards any one particular jeev, but rather it is directed towards everyone, or towards all those upon him he wants to bestow his grace. So that sort of gracious nature of Bhagavan and that sort of bhakti towards Bhagavan Shri Krishna is visible in various stutis as performed by Shri Adi Shankaracharya. And the most fascinating point which I was able to realize during this whole procedure was that he is also praising Yamuna, the way Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya has written Yamunashtakam stotra, praising the qualities of goddess Yamuna or river Yamuna. In the same way, Yamunashtakam written by Bhagavad Shankaracharya is also there, praising almost same qualities of Yamuna in accordance with the devotion of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So, because the stutis written by Shri Shankaracharya with regards to Bhagavan Shri Krishna are very famous, and many of the people are aware with what his thoughts upon the stutis are. But the Yamunashtakam by Bhagavad Shankaracharya is not that famous. And the thoughts which he has tried to explain there also needs to be paid a little attention, and that too with accordance to what Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya has to say. So with perspective of Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya, Yamuna is considered as an ideal devotee of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. There are many forms of Yamuna as accepted within the tradition, but the most identified form is of Yamuna being the devotee of Bhagavan. And because of Bhagavan being gracious upon Sri Yamuna, he resided upon the bank of Yamuna during his avatar kal and performed all his divine acts when Sri Yamuna was witnessing the same as a devotee. So this is how the grace bestowed by Bhagavan Shri Krishna upon Yamuna has been appreciated by Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya in Yamunashtakam. And historically, this was the first text written by him, Yamunashtakam, as the stuti of Sri Yamuna when he arrived in the Braj area of Uttar Pradesh, and when he was finding the Leela Sthali of Bhagavan and was not able to identify the same in the 15th century when everything was lost, all the places were lost. So at that time, he asked the way towards the Leela Sthali of Bhagavan to Sri Yamuna, and the way towards Braj Vrindavan was guided by her. So for appreciating the form of Yamuna, for appreciating the helpful nature of Yamuna towards the devotees, Mahaprabhu wrote the first text, Shri Yamunashtakam, praising her form and had the darshan of Yamuna there. So in this perspective, he is appreciating Yamuna as a devotee of Bhagavan Shri Krishna and carrying all the qualities of being a devotee of Bhagavan, who would join or who would guide the devotees towards the path of Krishna devotion. So in that way, what is required for the Jivatma is that we need to come out of the Sattvic, Rajas, and Tamas attributes and be Nirgun for the attainment of superior nature of devotion. So Mahaprabhu is saying that Yamuna is the bestower of that type of Nirgunata to the devotees because she herself has attained that type of Nirgunata within her. And because of that, concluding the Yamunashtakam, Mahaprabhu is saying, Sobhava Vijayato Bhavet Vadati Vallabha Shri Hare. It means that with the grace of Yamuna and being in the company of Yamuna, a devotee would be able to attain that type of Nirgunata. Explaining that same sort of form of Yamuna and that same sort of approach towards the devotion of Sri Yamuna, Shri Shankaracharya is saying that Murari Kaya Kali Mala Lama Varid Dharini Trinikrita Trivishtapa Triloka Shoka Harini Manonukula Kula Kunja Punja Dhuta Durmada Dunotume Manomalam Kalinda Nandini Sada. So when he is saying that Dunotume Manomalam, at that time he is expecting that sort of approach towards devotion through which the procedure in which Yamuna could be helpful to him. So he's saying that Yamuna should clean away all my sins. She should clean away all my bad thoughts and should make me approachable towards the path of bhakti. And there he is saying that Vrisham Prapataka Pravanchanati Pandita Nisham Sunanda Nandananga Sanga Raga Ranjita Hita. So there he is saying that what is the purpose, ultimately, what is the purpose of attainment of Nirgunata? There he says that the water of Yamuna Devi, the river water, is expert in washing away the deep-seated sins of sinners. And what is the quality of the sinners? And there he is saying that the river, which is extremely beneficial, being colored by the touch of the body of the son of virtuous Nanda Gopa. So there, when he is explaining the form of river Yamuna, he is saying that she has accepted as a devotee what is the superiority of the devotion. So there he is saying that the superiority as found within the path of devotion is to be in the one color of who your savior is or who your upasya is. So because Yamuna is a devotee of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, she has accepted that same color of Bhagavan Shri Krishna because of being in so much company. She has been witness towards the whole act, all the divine acts of Bhagavan, because of which, being in the association of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, she has accepted the color of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, and that sort of oneness of a devotee with the devotee with the one who is the object of his devotion. So in our terminology, we identify it as Sevak and the Savior. So the Sevaka is the devotee and the Savior is Bhagavan. So what is the superior most condition of the devotion is to identify oneness, that identify the qualitative oneness with one's Savior. So when Yamuna is accepting that sort of color with Bhagavan, at that time, she is being appreciated by Shri Shankaracharya by saying that Sunanda Nanda Nanga Sangha Raga Ranjita Hita. So Raga Ranjita Hita, here the term Raga stands for Anuraga, which stands for Prem, which stands for Bhakti. And when he is saying that Nanda Nanga Sangha Ranjita. So the Bhagavan is the son of Nanda Gopa. And he has the Yamuna has accepted the Sangha of the Nandananga. It means the Bhagavan Shri Krishna. And because of that Sangha, she has accepted also the color of Bhagavan, which is being identical towards the qualities of Yamuna, that she has accepted all the qualities of Bhagavan Shri Krishna within her, which we tell it as the Atmasat, the Prakriya of Atmasat. So the Prakriya of Atmasat is to inherit all those qualities which are not yours technically. So by default, those qualities don't belong to me, but whom I love, all those qualities are seen within me because of being in the strong association of that person. So in the same way, when Yamuna is being in the strong association with Bhagavan, she is acquiring all those qualities within her as a devotee of Bhagavan. And that type of ekatva, that type of atmabodh, that type of atmasatatva with within the savior and the saver is what signifies the superiority of devotion, that much love a person is able to conceive. And this is the quality which Yamuna has carried within her. But it is not so that being selfish, she is not sharing those qualities with others. Hence, that qualities are being shared with all other devotees who are residing on the bank of river Yamuna with the desire to attain the devotion of Bhagavan. So in the Bhagavad, it narrates the story of Dhruva, whom he was guided by Rishi Narada towards Madhuvan, which is on the bank of river Yamuna, for performing the penance for the attainment of Bhagavan. So Mahaprabhu in his Yamunashtakam is saying that Dhruva Parashara Bhishtade. It means that Yamuna is providing the Abhishtafal of devotion to Dhruva. In the same way, all those devotees who serve Yamuna with the desire of the attainment of devotion towards Bhagavan is also being appreciated by Shri Shankaracharya in Yamunashtakam, where he is saying that Lasat Taranga Sanga Dhuta Bhuta Jata Pataka. So he is saying that whoever is being in the company of the waves of river Yamuna are, when they are touching the waves of river Yamuna, they are able to achieve all those good qualities within them. And Navina Madhuri Dhurina Bhakti Jata Chataka. So there he is saying that the devotees who are residing on the bank of river Yamuna are those people who are just like a Chataka Pakshi. They have only one desire for the attainment of bhakti towards Bhagavan Shri Krishna. And with that same desire, when they are serving Yamuna, when they are living on the bank of Yamuna, she is the one who is providing the fruit of Krishna Bhakti to all those people. So, Tatanta Vasa Dasa Hansa Sansratahi Kamada Dunotu me Manomalam Kalinda Nandini Sada. So, there he is saying that this is how the type of fruit is being bestowed by Sri Yamuna to all those beings. And those beings, including the birds, including the people who are residing there, they are supposed to have that type of fruit. They appreciate that type of fruit as attained with the grace of Yamuna. And how Yamuna is developing that quality within her to bestow the fruit of Krishna Bhakti. So, in that perspective, he is saying that Vihara Rasa Kheda Veda Dhira Tira Maruta Gata Girama Gochare Yadiya Nira Charuta Pravaha Sahacharya Puta Medini Nadi Nada Duno Tume Manomalam Kalinda Nandini Sada. So he is saying that the breeze which is coming from the calm river bank carries the smell of the divine acts of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. It means a person is able to memorize everything in being in association of Sri Yamuna, and the pastimes and the Rasa Leela of Bhagavan Shri Krishna with the gopis, where this Rasa Leela has been explained as by Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya as the extension of Atmarati of Bhagavan. So that Atmarati is about the Anand attribute of Bhagavan, which he is able to relish within him. And as Arabrahma, when Bhagavan is relishing that Atmarati within him, he is sharing that Atmarati with everyone. So that extension of Atmarati of Bhagavan is experienced by the devotees, and that extension of Atmarati is what the Leela of Ras was, in which each and every Gopika was able to identify herself being one with Bhagavan. So the explanation of Ras Leela has been explained in both the ways in the tradition, that when Bhagavan performed the Rasa Leela and he played his flute for inviting all the Gopikas for the Ras Leela, that flute, that act of playing flute by Bhagavan Shri Krishna is explained by Mahaprabhu as Brahmanad. It means that Bhagavan is inviting everyone towards the play of his Atmarati, and all those who are graced by him, all those who are considered to be eligible by him, they are being a part of that gracious Atmarati of Bhagavan. And all those who are coming towards Bhagavan in the play of Atmarati, they experienced that sort of oneness with Bhagavan, because of which each and every gopi was able to witness Bhagavan being with him, being with her. So there is one gopi and one Krishna. But Krishna is one, there are many gopikas, but each and every gopi is able to witness the other person as Krishna. She is not able to witness the other gopika in the female form, but rather she is able to witness Bhagavan Shri Krishna within that gopi. So that act of Rasa Leela is what extension of Atmarati is, and it is considered as the prakriya of Brahmavad, in which each and every object is the form of Brahman. So in that Rasa Leela, Bhagavan is bestowing his grace upon the devotees by sharing his Atmarati with all those. And all the Gopikas, they are able to experience that sort of oneness. That same procedure is also being explained through the path of Yoga Marga, through the Prakriya of Jnana Marga, in which in the condition of Nirvikalpak Samadhi, after the performance of Dharana Dhyan, the true procedures in which we have an object of dhyana and we are concentrating upon that object. And ultimately, after Savikalpak Samadhi, a person attains the condition of Jivan Mukti in Nirvikalpak Samadhi Avastha. And in that Nirvikalpak Samadhi condition, the Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, this is how the procedure of yoga has been defined. So that Nirodha, the Chitta Vritti, the Rodha, it means to stop our Chitta Vritti at some particular space. So that Nirodha, the Prakriya of Nirvikalpak Samadhi, is being explained in the procedure of Rasa Leela by Mahaprabhu, where he is saying that the mind of all the Gopikas was captivated by Bhagavan and the acts of Bhagavan in such a way that they were not able to think about any other object. And because of that, all their sensory organs were completely directed towards Bhagavan Shri Krishna. And in that way, they were able to witness other person as Bhagavan himself. So this is what even Shri Shankaracharya is saying, that when we are sitting on the bank of river Yamuna and when we are having that breeze of river Yamuna, it is memorizing us with the special Leela, the divine acts of Bhagavan has performed. And because of that, due to the association with the flow of river Yamuna, the earth and also the other river streams have become purified. The same thing about river Ganga is being explained by Mahaprabhu, where he is saying that because of being in the contact of Yamuna, when Ganga and Yamuna Sangam happens in Prayagraj, so there he says that Ganga is Mokshadayini, but Ganga attains the warmth of devotion being in the company of river Yamuna. So the way Shri Shankaracharya is saying that the earth on which river Yamuna is residing is also attaining devotion as a result of being in the company of Yamuna. In the same way, other river streams like Ganga, she is also attaining that sort of devotion being with the grace of Sri Yamuna. So this is about the extension of graciousness. That grace, the origin of that grace is Bhagavan Shri Krishna. It is being provided to the devotees with whom Bhagavan is accepting that oneness. And all those devotees, when not being selfish, they are sharing that sort of Atmarati with other devotees. All the other people are also able to share that sort of oneness. So it is about that sort of extension of Atmarati, the way Bhagavan performs the act of extending his Atmarati. Same way, the gracious devotees of Bhagavan also play this role by flowing the charm of devotion to all the other devotees who are being in association with them. And this is how in the fifth Karika, Shri Shankaracharya is saying that Bhavarchanaya Charonam Buna Dhuna Visharada Dhuno Tume Manomalam Kalinda Nandini Sada. So he is saying that because Yamuna is carrying that warmth of oneness and devotion within her, because of that, she is considered to be expert in adorning the world by washing with her beautiful water, which is washing away all the hurdles being faced by the devotees on the path of devotion. And that's how in the Yamunashtakam of Shri Shankaracharya, ultimately in the 8th shloka, he is saying that Sadaiva Nanda Nanda Keli Shali Kunja Manjula. It means that she is providing, as a devotee, the devotee is considered to be fulfilled when he is able to provide some happiness and satisfaction to the deity, to the savior. So what is the term seva means in the tradition of Vallabh Sampradaya is that Sukha Janika Kriya. Whatever Kriya a devotee is able to perform, which provides some satisfaction or happiness to the deity, is what ultimately the purpose of service is. So for appreciating that approach of River Yamuna towards her service for Bhagavan Shri Krishna, he is saying that she has grown dense forests on her bank for pleasing Bhagavan. So when she is witnessing that Bhagavan is performing his divine acts on her bank, in that case, as a devotee, it is her duty to provide appropriate environment to Bhagavan. So in that way, she is developing the Kunja Manjula, the beautiful Kunja, it means the beautiful dense forest, for pleasing Bhagavan. Tatotta Fulla Mallika Kadamba Renu Sujwala. On the bank of river Yamuna, the sand is also so bright that it is attracting Bhagavan towards her bank for performing his divine acts. Jalava Ranam Bhavabdi Sindhu Parada Tuno Tume Valam Kalinda Nandini Sada. So ultimately, he is saying that in this way, when Yamuna is attracting Bhagavan towards her, in that way, when she is attracting Bhagavan towards her bank, she is attracting Bhagavan towards herself for performing the divine acts. In that way, the whole environment which has been created around her on the bank of river Yamuna is so pleasing to all the devotees that they are able to have the association of Bhagavan being in the association of Yamuna. So association with the Yamuna and association with Bhagavan is not considered to be different from each other, but rather there is oneness, there is non-difference within it. And in the same way, Mahaprabhu is also saying the same particular thing, that Yaya Charana Padmaja Muraripoh Priyam Bhavuka Samagamanato Bhavat Sakala Siddhida Sevyatam. So he is saying that when a person is being in the company of Yamuna, he will be able to experience the touch of Krishna. So through the waves of Yamuna, through the sand of Yamuna, we are able to have the sparsh of Bhagavan, we are able to have the association with Bhagavan, the experience of association with Bhagavan. And this is what the fulfillment of a devotee is, that you are able to have Bhagavan in you in such a great manner that you and the Bhagavan, they are considered to be non-different from each other in the devotional perspective. So that's how in Yamunashtakam, Shri Adi Shankaracharya has explained the form of river Yamuna. And in that manner, he is explaining the oneness of a devotee with Bhagavan. And that is a type of Adwaitabodha, which is helpful in the procedure of devotion. And this way, even Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya, when he is explaining the form of a devotee, form of a Jivatma, in spite of considering some sort of Dvaita, the Leelartha Dvaita between Jivatma and Bhagavan, he is saying that it is more like avidya in you, because of which we are not able to identify that I am Amsh of Bhagavan and Bhagavan is my Amshi. So what should be the solution towards this problem? So he is saying that a person should witness that Bhagavan in his Ananda Samudra is residing within the Atma of a Jivatma. So Paramananda Samudrastham Krishnameva Vichintayet. This is how he has explained this procedure. So it is the procedure of experiencing oneness with the Bhagavan, that me and Bhagavan are not different. But that oneness is not about forgetting the role of a devotee, that I am the Sevak and Bhagavan is the Savior. So it is not about forgetting the role, but rather it is about realizing that sort of oneness, that procedure of Atma Satatva within us, that I want to carry the role, carry Bhagavan, carry the attributes of Bhagavan, carry the qualities of Bhagavan, carry the color of Bhagavan, and also carry all the divine acts of Bhagavan in me in such a manner that nothing else resides within me. Nothing else remains within me other than Bhagavan, nothing else. So this same approach, while explaining the Bhajagovindam Sutra, Shri Shankaracharya, while explaining the role of Bhagavan and the Krishna Bhakti, he is explaining in the Bhajagovindam Sutra, in the stotra, through the whole stotra. I'm not just narrating the whole stotra, but there, whenever he is negating all the worldly affairs associated with the devotee, or all the bandhana, all the bondages as accepted by the Jivatma upon him, when he is negating each and every bandhan, including the objects of mamata and including the objects of ahanta, that this is my body, these are my sensory organs, or this is my prana, man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar, etc. And on the other end, when we are saying that this person is my father and mother and all those, so each and every mamata janaka padartha, each and every ahamta janaka padartha is being negated by Shankaracharya in the Bhaja Govindam Sutra. And then he is saying, he is appreciating the devotion by saying that what a jivatma attains being in the association of all the ahanta mamatatmak padartha and not being in the association of the devotion of Bhagwan. So while negating each and every object, he is trying to explain that earning the money, performing the karma, or being in the association of any object, being in the association of any sort of ahantatmak emotion or mamatatmak emotion, a person doesn't attain anything at the fruit as the fruit. And hence the devotion is the path through which a person attains the superior fruit. And that's why he is saying that satsangatve nisangatvam nisangatve nirmohatvam nirmohatve nischalitatvam nischalitatve jivan mukti. So in this procedure, when he is saying that through the company of the good, there arises non-attachment. It means through the satsanga, a person attains good qualities. Through non-attachment, there arises freedom from the delusion that I can come out of all the bandhan of ahanta and mamata. And through delusionlessness, there arises steadfastness. It means that sort of ananyata within us, that this is the path of liberation or this is the path of devotion on which I need to concentrate, and I should not let my mind fluctuate towards any other way. And through steadfastness, there arises liberation in life. It means that through that devotion, a person is able to liberate oneself from ahanta and mamata. This procedure of attainment of ekatva with Bhagwan, or the procedure of attainment of nirodha with Bhagwan, in the procedure of Bhakti Parampara of Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya, is explained through the devotional service of Bhagwan. So as the procedure of upasana being explained by Bhagavad Shankaracharya leads one towards the attainment of Gyan, and then Gyan leads towards the attainment of Mukti. So in that procedure, when we are making use of upasana for concentrating our mind towards the Bhagavan, in that procedure of upasana, in the Shri Vallabh Sampradaya, in the Vallabh tradition, Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya says that chetastat pravanam seva. It means that what is seva, what is service towards Bhagavan, devotional service towards Bhagavan. There he says that chittasya Krishna pravanata. It means your chitta should be so much be in Bhagavan, the way he is appreciating river Yamuna for her devotion, that it should be in so much being in association with Bhagavan that that chitta doesn't carry any other thought, any other object within it. So the way in Bhaja Govindam Stotra, Shri Shankaracharya is trying to nullify all the hurdles which are faced by a devotee for the attainment of oneness with Bhagavan, for the pravanata of a chittavritti in Bhagavan. All those hurdles are asked by Mahaprabhu to offer to Bhagavan. So there he is saying that don't leave the ahanta mamatatmak object, don't be in disassociation with the ahanta mamatatmak object, but rather perform the samarpan. So that Atma Samarpan is the way towards the attainment of superior condition of bhakti, which is Nirodha. So when we start performing the devotional service of Bhagavan by making use of each and every sensory organ, by making use of each and every material a devotee is able to possess, so by offering all those possessions to Bhagavan, a person would be able to abolish his ahanta mamata residing within that object. It means that today I consider that this house belongs to me, but once I start performing the service of Bhagavan, I will start considering that no, this house is for the sake of Bhagavan's service, or this body is for the sake of Bhagavan's service, or this money I possess is for the sake of Bhagavan's service. The family I am having around me is for the sake of Bhagavan's service. So this is how a person is able to divert the mode of ahanta and mamata towards Bhagavan, and through that procedure of devotional service, through that procedure of seva, a person is able to relish Bhagavan, and through that there will be a juncture, and that juncture is also identified as the juncture of Nirodha, where Prapancha Vismriti Purvak Bhagavad Asakti is the fruitful condition of bhakti, which is also equated with the Jivan Mukti condition in the path of devotion. So, in the condition of Nirodha, a Jivatma is able to forget all the universal affairs, everything that is being associated with the Ahanta and Mamata of the Jivatma, and is rather able to experience that the Chitta Vritti is being one with Bhagavan. So when in the Bhajagovindam Sutra, he is saying that he is cursing the time, he is actually in the whole stotra, he is explaining each and every aspect of Prakriti. So the Desha, Kala, all those aspects which are associated with the Prakriti, each and every Tattva, Man, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar, Indriya, the Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Sthula Sharir, and the associated objects with the Sukshma Sharir, Sthul Sharir, and all the components of the Prakriti are being nullified for the attainment of oneness. This is what the mode of Bhajagovindam Sutra by Shri Shankaracharya is. And that's why he is saying that as in the procedure of Yoga Marga, in the 30th verse of Bhajagovindam Sutra, he is saying that pranayamam pratyaharam nitya nitya viveka vicharam japya sameta samadhi vidanam purvavadhanam mahadavadhanam. So what is the procedure of inheriting all those attributes of Bhagavan within the Jivatma is equated with the path of Yoga Marga. So in the Yoga Marga, the way a yogi performs the procedure of Pratyahar, that he is retaliating all his sensory organs from all the worldly objects and trying to concentrate those sensory organs upon the internal object, which is Jivatma. In the same way, in the procedure of Bhakti Marga, Bhakti is also a type of yoga because it associates Jivatma with the Bhagavan. So that Yukti, the Yuktata, the association is what the term yoga stands for. So the way in Bhakti Yoga, Bhagavan in Gita is trying to explain that Bhakti Yoga is what associates Jivatma with Bhagavan. In the same manner, when in the procedure of Seva, in the tradition, Mahaprabhu is saying that through the procedure of Seva, when a Jivatma is stopping his sensory organs from considering that object to be his own, but rather considering that object belonging to Bhagavan, for the sake of Bhagavan's service, he disassociates himself from some sort of mamata. That mamata goes out of his mind, and through that he is able to develop the emotion towards Bhagavan. That mamata is redirected towards Bhagavan. That ahanta is again redirected towards Bhagavan. And with that procedure, the way a yoga margi is performing the Ashtanga Yoga Marga, leading him towards the path of Samadhi, in the same way, that condition of Nirodha is being achieved by a Jivatma after performing the procedure of devotion. So the path of Navadha Bhakti, starting from Shravan, Kirtan, Smaran, Padasevan, Archan, Bandhan, Dasya, Sakhya, and Atma Nivedan, through all these 9 folds of devotional procedure, a Jivatma is able to consider that these are the objects which have been created by Bhagavan. These are the objects which truly belong to Bhagavan, because this universe is not for our sake, but this universe has been created for the playfulness of Bhagavan. So by considering that sort of objective within one's mind, when we are able to understand that we will be conceiving everything for the sake of devotion, for the sake of devotional service of Bhagavan, a Jivatma is able to abolish all the bandhan of ahanta and mamata from his mind. And through that, he would be able to consider that Bhagavan is the one with whom we are supposed to feel that type of oneness. And that oneness is not conceived right from the first day of devotion, but rather when the Jivatma attains the state of Nirodha through the Bhakti Marga, and ultimately he attains the superior condition of Bhakti, where Prapancha Vismrti Purvak Bhagavad Asakti happens. And in that condition, there is a condition of Sarvatma Bhav post Nirodha Avastha, in which the Sarvatma Bhava has been defined as Sarvasmin Atma Bhavaha. So Sarvasmin Atma Bhavaha, it means that Sarvasmin Krishna Bhavaha. So Atma Bhavaha here, the term Atma doesn't stand for Jivatma, but rather Paramatma who is residing as the superior Atma within us. So Sarvasmin Atma Bhavaha is the condition a person attains at the end of devotional practice. And in that condition, he is able to he is able to conceive each and every object, including his own self, as the form of Bhagwan, as the form acquired by Bhagwan Shri Krishna himself. So in that way, in the condition of Sarvatma Bhav, which is the fruitfulness of Bhakti, that Sarvatma Bhav is being equated with the experience of Advaita, with the experience of oneness with Bhagavan. And there are many stories of various devotees also within the Vallabh Parampara and also within other Sampradaya traditions, where we are able to see that how Bhagavan is also accepting that type of oneness. So the way devotee is able to experience the devotional urge towards Bhagavan, that excessive urge of devotion towards Bhagavan, same way Bhagavan is also experiencing that type of excessive love towards the devotee. And that sort of oneness is what the fruitfulness of the path of devotion is. And that's why when through the procedure of Nirodha, a Jivatma is able to attain Sarvatma Bhava. And in that Sarvatma Bhava, Bhagavan and the Jivatma, they become one. They don't remain different. And the Jivatma carries everything being in the association of Bhagavan. So again, in the next stotra by Bhagwan Shankaracharya, Bhagavan Manasa Puja, there he is first of all, he is describing the form of Bhagavan, because this stotra is leading a devotee towards the Pramana, Prameya, Sadhan and Phal. This is a procedure of conceiving a tattva. So in this stotra, what I am able to understand is that Bhagavad Shankaracharya is trying to explain that how Krishna himself becomes Praman, how he becomes the Prameya, it means the knowable object, the Tattva. What is the method for the attainment of devotion and what is the fruit of devotion. That's how the flow of Bhagavan Manas Puja goes, because when we are conceiving the form of Bhagavan within our minds, we are able to relish it. So first of all, we read the form of Bhagavan, we read the acts of Bhagavan from the Shastras. After that, through the procedure of Shravana and Kirtan, a person is able to perform the Smarana, that we are memorizing whatever we have read, whatever we have learned. And after that, in the procedure of Navada Bhakti, after Shravan Kirtan and Smaran, the Pada Sevan, Archan Bandhan, Dasya and Sakya, these are what the aspects of Rupa Bhakti are for worshipping the form. And at the end, Dasya, Sakya and Atma Nivedan, these are considered as Antar Bhakti. So if we divide the 9 folds of devotion, the Navada Bhakti, then Shravan, Kirtan and Smaran are Nama Bhakti. After that, the Archan, Vandan, Pada Sevan, these 3 are Rupa Bhakti, again Bahya Bhakti, because this is what we perform through our sensory organs by making use of our physical amenities. And after that, Dasya, Sakya and Atma Nivedan, these have been entitled as Antar Bhakti. It means we internally feel that I am the servant of Bhagavan. Sakya is defined as Aprerita Priya Karanam. It means that you are not being inspired by anyone, but rather through the flow of natural flow of devotion within the heart, a devotee is urged towards performing the acts for pleasing the deity. So Aprerita Priya Karanam is also an internal emotion to be felt, and Atma Nivedan, it means to consider oneself being in complete surrenderance towards Bhagavan, is what Atma Nivedan stands for. It is also an internal emotion, which is conceived through our physical practice or our physical actions. So Antar Bhakti is Dasya, Sakya and Atma Nivedan, and leading towards that same sort of Antar Bhakti, Shri Shankaracharya is explaining in Bhagavan Manas Puja that how first of all we have to conceive the form of Bhagavan within our mind. And that procedure in Vallabh Sampradaya is explained as a Swarupa Bhavana, that whom you are serving, the form which you are serving, the form which you are worshipping, should be there in your mind. You should remember his eyes, you should remember his hands, you should remember his legs. And whenever we are closing our eyes and whenever we are remembering the form of Bhagwan, at that time, he should be in your mind. That form should be in your mind. So that Manasa Puja is explained as Manasi in our tradition, that this is the term has been coined by Mahaprabhu, where he is saying that Manasisa Paramata. It means that Bhagavan Shri Krishna should always be served, but when the bhakti is considered to be fulfilled, when you are able to perform Manasi. It means that when Bhagavan resides within your mind fully, completely, in such a manner that your mind has nothing else. And this is same what Chetastat Pravanam Seva, this definition also has to say. So in the first shloka of Bhagavan Manas Puja, he is saying that Hridayam Bhoje Krishnaha Sajala Jalada Shyamala Tanuhu Sarojakshah Saragvi Mukuta Katakadya Abharanavan Sharad Drakanath Pratima Vadanaha Shri Muralikam Vahan Dheyo Gopi Gana Parivrataha Kumkuma Chittaha. So in the first verse, he is describing the form of Bhagavan, that what is the color of Bhagavan, what are the ornaments being worn by Bhagavan, and with whom Bhagavan is residing, the parikara of Bhagavan, in which Bhagavan is residing. In the second verse, he is describing the qualities of Bhagavan, that what is the greatness of Bhagavan, that he is the killer of the Muradaitya. He is the one who has accepted the devotees in his lotus feet, and he is the one who is carrying the charm of devotion within him. And all those qualities have been described in the second verse. In the third verse, he is explaining all those who have attained the devotion of Bhagavan, where he is saying that Tomachamo Pendra Tridasha Saridam Bhoti Shishiram Bhajasvemam Panchamrita Falarasa Plava Maghahan Dunadyaha Kalindya Api Kanaka Kumbha Sthitamidam Jalam Tena Snanam Kuru Kuru Kurushva Chamanakam. So there he is saying that the way Ganga arrived from the lotus feet of Bhagavan, the same way Yamuna, being in the physical association with Bhagavan, was able to be the witness and the participant of all the divine acts of Bhagavan. In the same way, when we do the Achman of all these holy waters, again he is explaining that sort of oneness of devotion within of the devotee with Bhagavan, that the way Yamuna and Ganga, they have accepted the qualities of Bhagavan, they have been in the association of Bhagavan. So by having the pan of the holy water of Yamuna and Ganga, a person would be able to have the pan of bhakti. And that's how he is explaining the parikar of Bhagavan. And after that, he is explaining that how Bhagavan has confronted the asura who have been the killers of the devotees, or who have been uh, creating the problems for the devotees, and how he has protected his devotees from all the demonic powers. So there he is appreciating the surrenderance of Arjun towards Bhagavan and all the other devotees. And he is saying that with that sort of approach, a person who is approaching Bhagavan for the attainment of devotion should be in the surrenderance of Bhagavan. And this same sort of approach towards the Sharanagati has been explained by Mahaprabhu, where he is saying that Karpanya, the Sharanagati, can be understood in the 6 manners, but in that the 6th aspect is Karpanya. It means we should not be egoistic about our abilities or about our powers, but rather a person should surrender his everything in the lotus feet of Bhagavan. So this is when we are performing the puja of Bhagavan, at that time, how the Charanaravind of Bhagavan should be understood. So there he is saying that the Charanaravind of Bhagavan are so who are accepting the devotees, who are providing the raksha, who are providing the surrenderance to his devotees. And with that desire for attaining the surrenderance towards Bhagavan, a person should worship his feet, the divine feet. And in this whole stotra, in the 7th verse as well, he is explaining the procedure of puja, the Panchopachar, Dashopachar puja, in which each and every aspect of puja should be performed with the desire of the attainment of such a great fruit. And ultimately, as a conclusion, in the last verse, he is saying that Sada sevyah Krishnah sajala ghana neelah karatale dadhano dadyannam tadanu navanitam muralikam kadachit kantanam kuchakalasha patrali rachana samasakta snigdhai saha shishu viharam virachayan. So there he is saying that Bhagwan Shri Krishna should always be worshipped. He has accepted the color of that darkness for explaining us that the way each and every color merges into the darkness, same way all the vrittis of a jivatma should merge in the divine color and the divine qualities of Bhagwan. So with these insights and the association or the alignment of thoughts within the procedure of devotion as explained by Mahaprabhu and Vallabhacharya and Bhagavad Shri Shankaracharya, I bow down to both the revered Acharyas and conclude the talk. Shri Krishnarpanamastu.
Namaste. Thank you very much. It was a beautiful reconciliation of one ground of bhakti for the purpose of achieving moksha between the two great scholars of India. One is Vallabhacharya and one is Adi Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya himself said, Moksha karana samagraya bhakti reho gariyasi. So, for the purpose of achieving the Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Shanti, Chitta Ekagre, which are the baselines for the purpose of Jnanodaya, so it is indispensable for anybody who is interested in Jnanodaya. It was very nice. Thank you very much. Thank you very much once again. Viewers, join for today evening's session also. As per the flyer, I will close the session by chanting the Shanti Patha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat.